Hello BookTube, this is Johnny. YouTube, I'm sitting in my main study. Make sure everything's recording. It is going on 9 o'clock here in Southwest Michigan. There's Kerouac, there's James Joyce. So yeah, it's recording. I thought I'd make a video. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm sitting in my main study. It is February the 20th, 2019, in the flow of existence, the death flow, the plan of salvation, the will of God. I made a video, what was it, last night? It was on that tag. What was that tag? It was called here, I have a short memory. The Nosy Librarian tag questions. I have it here. I put it in my February 2019 diary for nobody to read. You know, nobody's going to read my diaries. As I've mentioned many times in these videos, I have instructed our son Josiah that when I die, that my diaries are to be destroyed. Go up in smoke. I was thinking about that because I think I mentioned, what was it? It was not this week, was it? Maybe it was this week. I was invited to go over to somebody's house for dinner. His name is Ryan. He comes into the Book Nook. He's one of these intentional Christians. He's trying to start a Christian community in his neighborhood here in Holland. And we talk when he comes into the Book Nook. He used to be into selling books. It's a long story. But anyway, in talking to him, and going over to his house for dinner, Carol couldn't come because she had to work that night. But he mentioned at the dinner table, as we're sitting around and telling he has 4 children, that, hey, you know, Mr. Keene keeps a diary. And he wanted me to tell his kids about my diary. And of course, that's one of my raps, you know, that I share with people, my diary rap that I keep. You know, I keep an online diary. I've done that since March 2001, and I've kept a paper diary since 1968, which I don't have all of it. As I've mentioned, I destroyed it when I left California back in 1978 to go to Bible college. I destroyed my diary. I burned them. You know, I won't go. That's an old rap. But the point is, hey, why doesn't everybody keep a diary? That's, you know, what is the big deal about it? I mean, all you got to do is get a piece of paper, get a pen, write down a few words. Hey, I get up this morning and I had a bowl of Cheerios. Yeah, I went to work and I came home from work and my wife talked about her day, and my kids were tired, and we went to bed early. Hey, that's a diary entry. What's the big deal? I mean, to me, it's no big deal keeping a diary. I've been doing it. To me, it's like you just sit down and you write something. You know, what is the big deal? I mean, you know, why make a big deal out of it? To me, it's no big deal. I mean, like making a video. Hey, you just come here into my main study. I sit here. I get my little tripod, I put my camera up there, and I make a video about my world as a Christian bookworm. Hey, you know, what is the big deal? People talk about editing and what am I going to say, and you know, am I going to come off articulate? Hey, you know I come off, you know, as crazy, and it always amazes me that people say in their comments that I come off so relaxed. And when I tell my wife that, she just kind of smiles and say, they don't know you, Johnny. I'm the least relaxed person that you could meet. I mean, I look at myself as a roaring volcano. I'm not this relaxed person. I mean, I have anxiety issues, insecurity issues. I suffer from chronic depression. You know, all kinds of things. But hey, yeah, it's, you know, so today, when I finished my diary for today, I ended on page 158 for the year 2019. And before you know it, it's going to be March 2019 on, let me see, how many... Yeah, we got this week. Tomorrow is the 21st. Next Thursday is the last day of February 2019. And then that coming Friday will be March the 1st. It says right here, on March the 7th, my wife leaves and comes back on March the 21st. I'll be here alone with Mr. Johnny Keene, whoever he is, for 2 weeks. So me and him have to, what's the word? Me and Johnny Keene are going to have to just how to learn to live with one another. So anyway. So yeah, so I keep asking on my desk. Let me see what else I have here. I think I have in here my timeline. I don't know where it is. Anyway. So, I think my timeline's right here. No. Timeline. This is my timeline. This is what keeps me in the flow of existence. I was born 1952, August the 14th, Oakland, California. And in 2022, Lord willing, I'll be 70 years old. I mean, what will the world be like in the year 2022? I mean, it's hard to imagine with what's going on in the world right now. So it is a Wednesday night. I'm sitting in the main study, just rambling away because I don't know what to do with myself, folks. I really don't know what to do. I don't watch TV. Now, last night I watched the American Masters on PBS. It's Black History Month. They had Sammy Davis Jr. I grew up with watching Sammy Davis Jr. on TV. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, the Rat Pack, the whole thing. And I know a lot of you out there don't know what I'm talking about, so don't worry about it. I got a book in the mail. I mentioned I was getting a novel. This is it, The Woman in the Photograph, a novel by Dana Gynther, Gynther. This is also a novel on the model, Vogue model of the 20s and 30s, Lee Miller, who became a famous photographer. And these are historical fiction. I remember I mentioned The Age of Light, which is also historical fiction on the life of Lee Miller. And I ordered this one and I got it in the mail today to compare the two. So I'm reading these together. I start reading these late this afternoon, and so I'm reading these. I'll probably read these tonight, back and forth. I did go to a thrift store the other day. I didn't find anything except one book. It's a nonfiction. It's on the American Revolution and the French Revolution, Sister Revolutions, French Lightning and American Light by Susan Dunn. It's kind of comparing the two. You have the American Revolution. What's it called? The Colonial American Revolution, the one that led up to us back. You know what? It is called the American Revolution, isn't it? Anyway, and then you have the French Revolution. So this is what it's like, a study in comparing these two revolutions, how the American Revolution kind of had a ripple effect in France and started the French Revolution. Still reading, I've been reading this too, The Pleasures of the Imagination, English Culture in the 18th Century by John Brewer. And I read today Fire Within, St. Teresa of Avila, St. John of the Cross, and the Gospel and Prayer by Thomas Dubay. So I read those today, and I read that. And I read St. John of the Cross, The Ascent to Mount Carmel. It's up there on the shelf. So I was going to do a thing on the Ten Commandments, because everybody says, as I mentioned last night in my video, I've broken all the Ten Commandments. And I thought about doing a whole video on that, the Christian view of the law. But I thought, once again, that's an old rap for me. I'm kind of tired of the whole thing, and I can recommend books if you want. Leave a comment, and I can recommend books on the Christian view of the law and Paul and the law. I got a whole shelf of books on Christian ethics and the Ten Commandments and the moral law and the Torah and the Sinaitic Covenant and the Mosaic Covenant, all that stuff. I've read so much of it and thought about it so much and talked about it so much that I just don't have any desire anymore. So that's it here. I got some books coming in the mail tomorrow. I got a book on interpreting the different ways how one can interpret the Epistle of Romans in the New Testament. I'll show that when it comes in the mail, maybe sometime this week. But there is something, going back about the law, there was something I thought I could read that came to my mind before I started making this video. These verses from the Epistle of Galatians came to my mind in talking about the law. He says here, he says in chapter 5 of the Epistle of Galatians in the New Testament, "Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty by which Christ has made us free. Do not be entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Indeed, I, Paul, say to you that if you become circumcised, Christ will profit you nothing. And I testify again to every man who becomes circumcised that he is a debtor to keep the whole law. You have become estranged from Christ, you who attempt to be justified by a law. You have fallen from grace. For we through the Spirit eagerly wait for the hope of righteousness. For in Christ Jesus neither circumcision nor uncircumcision avails anything but faith working through love." And then he says, "You who ran well, who hindered you from obeying the truth? This persuasion does not come from him who calls you. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. I have confidence in you, in the Lord, that you who will have no other mind, but he who troubles you shall bear his judgments, whoever he is. I, brethren, if I still preach circumcision, why do I still suffer persecution? Then the offense of the cross has ceased. I could wish that those who trouble you would even cut themselves off. For you, brethren, have been called to liberty. Only do not use liberty as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, beware lest you be consumed by one another. If then walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. For the flesh lusts against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law." So that's my little commentary from the Bible on the Christian and the law. So I hope this little video finds you all well. Thank you for new subscribers. If you want to know about the books on the Christian and the law, comment below. Until next time, bye.